we're looking at the Unit Planner AI Australian curriculum. Just as the name suggests, this is designed to create unit plans with the overarching objective of a teaching and learning sequence aligned to the Australian version 9 curriculum. Going through quickly in a few of the elements, we first see our year level that we can select here, our year 6, and what we'll do is health and physical education. Might boost this up to year 8. The subject here is health, and the reason that we have two sections here is we may have a variety of different subject names or different inferences that we can also give better depth of understanding and context to the AI system that we are using the health and physical education curriculum, and the subject is health. It might be child studies or it might be psychology using that curriculum, and we'll add additional guidance with the actual subject. Moving down, I'll skip this section for now and we'll look at the instructional strategy. I might for this one look at inquiry-based learning. The culminating assessment performance is where I can choose the type of assessment I would like at the end of my unit. We might have investigate through inquiry would be a good matching one for this one. You also is quite common to use the AI to select the best assessment format, which will allow the AI to choose in pertinent to what your learning objectives are, how it matches with your curriculum, and how you'll get the students to project their learning or demonstrate their learning to you aligned with the curriculum. It will choose that for you, or you can choose that manually and the AI system will develop that for you as well. The number of weeks, we're going to run for 4 weeks here. We might boost that up and we'll run for 6 weeks, and I see these students 1 time per week. When the full version is published, you'll see that this is boosted out to 10 weeks. In testing, we are just keeping it some constraints here. This will be a tutorial, so you might not know what I'm talking about, but we will progress from there knowing that in the testing version, we're only allowing 6 weeks here. The learning objectives and the focus of the unit plan. I've added in my learning objectives here and I'll expand that out. So essentially what we're trying to do here is create the overarching objective of what you would like the students to learn, understand, or display by the end of your unit. The AI system, using the context that you give it, as long in the instructional strategy and also these learning objectives, will create the sequence toward that end goal and testing it or assessing it using the assessment. So for this example here, students are learning to analyze and reflect on influence of values, beliefs, and also how that's constructed according to things like where we come from, who we relate to, and this comes from the Australian curriculum as well. And coming down here, this is where you are able to add additional information, considerations, or students' needs. And this is where I'll note that there is no red star at the bottom. These are compulsory fields, and this one is not, where you are able to add any influencing contextual information about your class dynamics or any additional needs from your students that need to be considered when they're designing the tasks and the differentiation throughout the unit as well. For this example here, I won't add any in and we will run the tool. Expect that this will run for anywhere between 4 and 6 minutes. Once complete, you will see your unit plan download. Once you click this, it will do an auto download of your document for you. This is our created unit that we can go through and have a bit of a look at now. First of all, we're getting our overview of the designed unit. We are looking at the breakdown of the key skills and the key knowledge expected of the students to demonstrate by the end of the unit. From the achievement standard of the Health and Physical Education Year 8 curriculum, these are the outcomes from the achievement standard. The AI was allowed to take your learning objectives and use that as the contextual information to align with the curriculum. These are the standards from the achievement standard and also the content descriptors that was used to be able to develop the unit for you. This is the difference between the Australian curriculum and the BYO curriculum unit planner, where this one will choose the best aligning curriculum elements for you and use that as the basis of the creation of the unit, where the BYO curriculum is where you can specify and target curriculum elements. Let's keep diving in. The formative assessment, per lesson, you'll get a few different ideas, and the overarching summative assessment, the unit plan, which is developed down here. Before we jump into that, to introduce the unit, to hook them in and capture their interest and gauge prior learning and so forth. This is a section with some ideas on how to do that in a variety of different ways. Looking now at my inquiry focused lesson plans. For each lesson, you'll get your learning intention, success criteria, your adjustments, and some suggested resources to run this plan. You'll also get your teaching and learning sequence. Now, personally, and what is encouraged on all users is to fine tooth comb every single lesson to ensure that you take ownership of the way that you approach teaching, ensure that you add in your own tasks, modify what is existing here, because it will not be a one size fits all, and neither should it be. This is a broad scope to be able to cater for teachers around Australia to be able to take ownership of a unit and then continue on. So each lesson will be designed under a format following the inquiry practice to be able to teach in that instructional strategy. All the way through each of the 6 lessons there, and you will get our assessment at the end. I'll zoom out on this slightly. You will see it's over 2 pages. What's important here is knowing that this is not the task sheet that you'll give students. This is trying to include as much information of context of what should be given on a student's task sheet. You can choose, modify anything you need from here. So again, these are the curriculum elements. The secondary alignment shows the general capabilities, the cross-curricular elements that is going to be also targeted during this assessment. The task description is what you would introduce to the students. The actual assessment instructions broken down into steps for students to follow to be able to complete the assessment, especially during inquiry. That may or may, obviously that will be a little bit different and catered for this one. The learning intentions and success criteria, you'll also get, importantly, I'll just put enter to go down a little bit further. The conditions here are your constraints around what the assignments to make sure that there's defined and clear boundaries for students of what you are and are not asking them to do. The key skills and knowledge, again, of what they will be expected to demonstrate with this assessment. The checkpoints is really influential and supportive of students to be able to break it down into, at this point in time, this landmark of this lesson, you will submit an outline for your project. In the next lesson, you're going to do a peer review of their submission and help them out. The last one is a scheduled check-in halfway through the project. So there are a few broken down ideas for this specific assessment. At the end, you'll get a web resource pack tailored to what your unit plan is. So it's searching and scraping the internet for different teaching and learning resources based on this Year 8 health unit around the inquiry model as well. So hopefully this has helped. We've got a few articles, some PDF resources, some research articles as well with some data in them. I hope this tutorial has been helpful, although that it goes for a long time understanding how that the AI is choosing to take your learning objectives and match that against what the curriculum elements are and design that into an overview before it will build you a teaching sequence in your instructional strategy. So what this is, the biggest part of the influential piece is right here. It'll take your learning objectives, match it against the curriculum before it pursues creating a teaching learning sequence. Any type of questions, any thoughts for feedback, please add them in. We'll leave this survey here while I'm testing. So if you don't see that, this is now published as the full version. Enjoy and happy teaching.